People, they often ask me, Maria, what was the hardest thing you ever did in your life? Was it the North Pole? Was the freaking cold the English Channel? Was it the South Pole? Was the Ironmans? What was it? The hardest thing I ever done in my life was to honor a promise I've made in 2005 to 101 single moms living in the slums of Bangladesh. My story started when I was 2 years old. I'm the daughter of a single mother, and she was struggling and she was unemployed. This is when she met a poor refugee woman from Angola, mother of 6 children, totally illiterate. She was a cleaner and she was a widow. When she saw my mother struggling, she didn't hesitate to offer for help. Basically, she told my mom, why don't you go to Lisbon, 7 hours away from the little village, find a job, and I take care of Maria until then. My mother left to the city, she never came back. So I became the 7th child of Cristina. Cristina's motto was, who feeds 6, feeds 7. At the age of 9 years old, Cristina had a heart attack and she passed away. And my Cristina daughters, they were on their early 20s, they took care of me. From age of 12, I had to stop going to school. And pretty much from that point, I was told the only thing I could expect to achieve in life was to be a cleaner. At the age of 18, I told myself, if the only thing I'm going to achieve in life is to be a cleaner, I will refuse to just be a cleaner. I'm going to be the Ronaldo or the Messi of the cleaning world. So I left Portugal and I went to Europe. I went to where the best cleaning jobs in the world they are, which is Switzerland. I learned how to speak French. Later, I went to England. I learned how to speak English. And then always looking for better opportunities, I went to the job center and I was offered the job to be an Emirates flight attendant. There was 100 candidates on a job interview and only 2 of them, they got the job. And I was one of them. When I came to Dubai, I thought I really won the lottery. I was traveling all around the world, staying in 5-star hotels, and then shortly after, I got the job to be a VIP flight attendant for Sheikh Mohammed. So you can imagine the glamorous and luxury lifestyle I was having. And in 2005, I was scheduled a flight in Bangladesh, one of the poorest countries in the world. And I always thought I had grown in a very humble background, but I didn't know what was poverty until I was in the slums of Bangladesh. So what did I do? I met 101 families, and I promised 600 children I was going to take them out of poverty. I started with 39 kids, 98, 200, 600. I'm going to be honest, I had no idea how to help them. But if Cristina, a poor refugee woman from Angola, she could take care of me, I could take care of these kids in Bangladesh. I came back to Dubai, and I asked people to help me, volunteers and experts to help me setting up a daycare center, a preschool, a primary school, a secondary school, a canteen, a computer center, a first aid center, a beauty salon, and we had everything. And all I was dreaming was one day my children, when they grow up, they're going to go to university and they're going to go Bidesh. Bidesh meaning they're going to leave the slums of Dhaka and they're going to go abroad. 2008, and I was dreaming, I was continuing to fly, and in 2008, recession came. And a school for 600 children, it has a lot of bills. And overnight, just like COVID came, I started to lose my sponsorship. So I Googled on internet, what is the quickest and most efficient way to make money? And internet said, if I went, actually they said if I met Ellen or if I met Ronaldo or Angelina Jolie, I will make the money. If I went on a popular TV show like Ellen or Oprah, I will get the money I needed. So I sent letters, but then I kept researching on internet, and internet said if I went to the North Pole, I would raise £2 million. Because there was a team from England going from England to the North Pole. They had raised £1 million and they were going to raise £2 million. Now, I never did sports in my life. I didn't know what I was getting myself into it. And the only sports I was doing up to that point was walking from the galley to the cabin to serve you. Would you like tea? Would you like coffee? Hardly an athlete. But I thought an athlete is not an athlete when he was born. I will transform myself into an athlete. To cut down short, so 4 months later, I became the first Portuguese woman to get to the North Pole. There was no £2 million because I forgot to read the fine print, and Prince Harry was the sponsor of that expedition. That's why they'd make money. I kept Googling. Internet told me if I climbed Everest, I could raise $2 million. So I transformed myself into a mountaineer. Portugal thought I'm not a climber. I was going to be an embarrassment for my country. But 1 year later, I stood at the top of Everest, and I became the first and the third Portuguese citizen climbing Everest. Yeah. That was not enough. Actually, everyone was congratulating me for being the first Portuguese woman to get to the Everest, but there was no funds at all, and we had to shut down, and I had to send 600 kids back to the slums. Someone told me if I wanted to reopen my organization, I had to think bigger and wilder. So someone told me, why don't you start breaking Guinness World Records? So I broke Guinness World Records running marathons, around 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days. I transformed myself into a swimmer. I attempted to swim from England to France. I did 5... And I became the first Portuguese woman to get to the South Pole and to get to Antarctica. 18 years later, the children, people, they often ask me, Maria, what was the hardest thing you ever did in your life? Was it the North Pole? Was the freaking cold the English Channel? Was it the South Pole? Was the Ironmans? What was it? The hardest thing I ever done in my life was to honor a promise I've made in 2005 to 101 single moms living in the slums of Bangladesh. I went to Bangladesh in 2005, and I promised them to change their life. But ladies and gentlemen, it's these children and these people in the slums of Dhaka that they completely have transformed myself into who I am today, a 9 Guinness World Record. I am currently I'm transforming myself into a climber, and I'm attempting to climb K2 in 4 months' time.
Ini, bring up the children.
17 years later.
Now I want to show you. So you guys really feel this. What happens when you really step up?
I told you I was going to take them abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the first generation students. They have a primary education, secondary education, and they are working in companies in Dubai. Up. And this is how old I was when my mother left to Lisbon and never came back. Meet Mawa, our youngest child in the project.